I have lived out here in the middle of nowhere now for about 5 years. It's been a roller coaster to say the least, but I've learned so much about myself. So today I thought I would share 3 life lessons that have really helped me live a happier life. These are things that you can apply to your own life, no matter where or how you're living. Everything is made up. That's one of my absolute favorite lessons I've learned since moving out here. And what do I mean by that? Well, exactly what I'm saying. Everything is made up. The clothing I'm having on my body is made up. My body language, my words speaking, the language, the smartphones we're using, the socks I'm wearing, the careers we're having, job as being a police officer is made up, a YouTuber is definitely made up. Everything is made up by someone. So when I cracked the code and actually understood that everything is made up, I made the realization that, oh, I can make stuff up. And that was such a relief for me, because I've always thought of the world and the way we live our lives to be very boxy when I was younger. Like, oh, this is the way it is, a 9-to-5 job is the only way to go, this is that. Just, it felt like a very narrow path and everyone should follow the same path. And I didn't like that idea. But when I realized that everything is made up, I just started making stuff up. I realized that the world is more like a piece of clay. I can actually shape it to whatever I want it to be. It's completely up to me. So when you realize this, it's more a question of what do you want to create? It's only you and your own limitations that sets the boundaries of the life you want to live. And for me, I created this world of being a dude in the forest, living a simple life in a cabin and being a YouTuber. That is completely made up. I can also give you another example of stuff I've made up. Many, many years ago, I was attending a lecture, and the lecture in itself was quite boring. So I was sitting there in the benches and just daydreaming away, and I looked at this guy giving the lecture thinking, that could be kind of cool one day to maybe stand in front of people and giving lectures. I had no experience. This was way, way before YouTube, way before any kind of public version of me and myself. So this was complete daydreaming. But I started kind of making this up as I went along. So the idea and the seed of me being a lecturer or an educator in some way started growing. So when people, I really started bullshitting people, I guess. But what I started to do at kind of mingle events when I met new people, I said that I was a filmmaker, which I was at the time, but not publicly in front of the camera. I was always behind the camera. So I was a filmmaker, and then I also added saying that I was a person giving lectures. And that always sparked an interest and a lot more questions, because a filmmaker, you can kind of describe quite quickly what it is and what you do. But lectures, then I had to kind of explain what kind of lectures I was giving. And I have never, ever been standing on stage giving a lecture before. I just made it up. So I just started telling this lie, I guess, to people that I met that haven't met me before and didn't know I was lying to them. So I started repeating this kind of lie and made up thing that Kalle is a person that is a lecturer. And I kept doing this for many, many months. And at some point it came almost a reality for myself as well. Because at one time I got a call from an acquaintance, I guess. Must have heard me talk about this in some scenario. I said it to so many people that I kind of forgot it. Or how many I at least spoke to about it. So this person called me up like, hi, I remember you giving like inspirational lectures. You told me that, and me and my company is looking for someone to come and talk to us and inspire us before this fall and our new quarter in the company, and we would like someone to come and talk and give us like a pep talk. I was very lucky that it was a phone call and he couldn't see my reaction, because I was like, oh, okay. So I just put my best poker face on and said, wow, okay, that sounds really fun. I would love to do that. When would you like it to be held? And then we discussed the details. And this person actually booked me on a lecture. I prepared for so many weeks, and I put so much work into it, and I got paid almost nothing. But that was not the point. I took it from being something very made up and I put it into the real world. So what I want to ask you is that what do you want to make up? What do you want to create in this world? And don't put yourself in this kind of box that everyone else has been telling you before. There are so many different alternatives, so many different doors to open. Don't limit yourself to the door that people have always told you that you should go through. Choose the third door. Alternative C. The path that someone is not always talking about. It's not hidden, but you know it's out there somewhere. Just go for it. Make some stuff up. One of the best lessons I've ever learned was thanks to a guy called Björn Nattiko Lindblad. He was a finance guy that was living in Stockholm, and then he just got enough of it and moved to Thailand and became a monk for 17 years. So I listened to a lot of his podcasts and I went to his seminars and I actually got to meet him once. So one of the lessons he actually taught me and that has still lived within me since that day is don't believe everything you're thinking. And when he spoke those words the very first time, I completely understood what he meant, because I'm my very own worst critic. If I would believe everything I'm thinking, I would have the worst self-image on the planet, I think, because I'm constantly critiquing myself and being quite hard on myself. So just having that filter of saying, you don't need to believe everything you're thinking, because me as a daydreamer, both, I guess, negative daydreams and positive ones, take up so much of my time when I'm awake. So if those are things I'm going to wander around and actually believe, I'm gonna feel really shitty about myself. So having that filter and actually shutting off and saying, this is not even true, you just made it up. And a way for me to actually wind down and learn what thoughts to listen to or not is to meditate a lot. So I try to meditate every day. I'm not very successful at it, but I try at least. When I overthink too much, I sit down for 10 minutes, just breathe a bit. And when I come back from those 10 minutes, I kind of wake up to the real world again. I understand that, okay, yeah, that wasn't true at all. So actually just taking some time and reflecting on your own negative or positive thoughts is extremely helpful. And I guess one way to do it, instead of just sitting with it yourself, you can also just talk about it with a friend. Because if you're saying stuff out loud sometimes, especially for me, I can hear how stupid it sounds and like, how could I even believe that was true? So by just saying it out loud to someone else, then you kind of realize, yeah, that wasn't reality, it was just up here. And another lesson that Björn actually taught me, I guess as a bonus lesson in this video, is that I could be wrong. Realizing that I can actually be the one being wrong in the scenarios, and it can be in my own head, or especially in my case, in arguments with family or with Christine or whoever, just taking a step back and double check with yourself. Am I actually correct here, or am I just fighting it for no particular reason? Am I the person actually in the wrong here? And having that reflection with yourself is very helpful, both with your own thoughts and also in arguments, I guess. This lesson is what I would like to call learn how to not care anymore. And it may sound cold or harsh, but I think this life is way too short to care about what people think about you. And what I mean by that is that if we continue to think what other people are going to think about us and what we say and what we do, we're never going to get anywhere. If I would have listened to everyone that said or questioned my decision on moving out here, I wouldn't have lived here. If I would have listened to everyone that said, maybe don't get a Siberian Husky as your first dog, I would have probably not have a dog at all. What I want to say is that, of course, there are people in your life that care about you. I don't doubt that at all. But there are also a lot of people that you surround yourself with on a daily basis that don't have your best interest at heart. So don't listen to them. Don't care about them. I usually say that, are these people around you adding logs to your fire, or are they pissing on your fire? Because if they're pissing on your fire, they have no right to have an opinion about you or your life or anything surrounding you. Get rid of those people and don't care about them. And on the topic of not caring, I listened to the most amazing interview last week by the actor Tom Holland, and he said a quote that it's that really hit me. He said, if you have a problem with me, text me. And if you don't have my number, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. And that just spoke to me on so many levels, because I think there's so many people that have opinion about you that have no idea who you really are, especially as a YouTuber, I will say, because there's just so much people with their opinions just flooding you. And of course I have chosen this line of work for myself, so I have just myself to blame, but it's also up to me if I want to listen to them or not. And maybe you have those kind of comments from colleagues or people in your surroundings. If they don't have your number, they do not deserve to have an opinion about you or who you are. Thank you so much for watching this little video. And if you did like it, please press like on the video here on YouTube as well. That really helps me out. And if you like this kind of concept, I think I know you're gonna love that video as well. So check that out, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.